Alrighty, guys, welcome back to the channel. This is Growth for Christ. So today we're going over what's called the dark room, and I'll tell you what the topic of this video is about in a second. But first, I want to give the story. So the story is very simple. We see a man, he gets born, but when he looks around, all that he sees is darkness. He doesn't realize that it's a room. He doesn't realize that there's anything else. So as he gets older, he realizes that he can't see anything. He's gotten comfortable with the way his life is. One day, as the man's living his life, a strange light appears to him. And this light tells him that he knows nothing. That he knows absolutely nothing. And that nothing he thinks is real. So the man asks him, what should I do? And the light says, follow me. I will show you the way. So the light leads him to a door in the side panel of this dark room. And nobody else in this dark room can tell that this man has left. They can't tell that there's a change going on, that this man is being drawn away from them. They can't even tell that this man has disappeared. So the man steps out the door, and immediately he's blinded by this bright light. It knocks him to the ground, and he realizes he's in a hallway of a house lined with 7 other hallways and doors, and he sees that he's not alone for the first time in his life. He sees that he's been in a room his whole life. So what does the light tell him to do? The light says, well, now you know the truth. Go and tell others that truth. So the man goes back into the dark room. And at first, people can't tell who that light is. People can't tell that it's the guy that disappeared. But over time, he reveals himself to them and the truth that he found. And he tries to help other people see. And when he goes back into that dark room, he has an understanding. He can see things that other people can't, because the truth has him. Now, for the second part of our story, we see a man born into the same darkness, and he sees nothing. The light appears to this man, and the man goes. He says, I'll go. So he reluctantly goes with the light, and upon seeing the truth, he gets so scared that he runs back into the dark room and locks the door behind him and says not even one word to others about what he saw. The man was so scared of the truth that he ran back inside the house and didn't tell nobody. So, the topic of this study is going to be on being the light of the world, right? We're called to be the city on a hill. We see this in Matthew 5:14, so we're going to go there really quick. It says, you are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden, nor do people light a lamp and put it under a basket, but on a stand, and it gives light to all in the house. So we see here our calling, right? So the man that's born into the dark room, both the men that are born into the dark room, are born into the world, in the society of how the world works. Now, we call it darkness because this world is cursed. It's part of a curse that happened in Genesis with the fall of man. So when man ate the fruit, God put a curse on the earth and everything in it, that everything shall die. And we see in Matthew that our goal is to come back into this world with the truth about who Jesus is, and we're called to be the light of the world just like Jesus is. And so we see this first man, he takes the light and he shines it, and he can see for the first time, and he gets a charge with it, right? So this man, when he leaves the room and he falls to his knees, the light tells him his mission, right? He says, you've discovered the truth, go and tell other people. This part of the story correlates with Matthew 28:18 through 20. So let's go there really quick. So we see it, and it says, and said, tell people his disciples came by night and stole him away while we were asleep, and it comes to the governor's ears, we will satisfy him and keep you out of trouble. So they took the money and did this as they directed. And this story has been spread among the Jews to this day. The Great Commission. So this is right after Jesus has rose from the grave. Now the 11 disciples went to Galilee, to the mountain to which Jesus had directed them. And when they saw him, they worshipped him, but some doubted. And Jesus came and said to them, all authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me. Go therefore and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit, teaching them to observe all that I have commanded you. And behold, I am with you always to the end of the age. So we see that the first man, he goes into the dark room again after seeing the light, but this time he has a strange light with him. We see this part in Matthew 28, where Jesus says, I am with you, meaning that this man has the presence of Jesus in his life now, and people can slowly start telling that this man has been changed. There's a visible change that people can see the light inside of this dark room that they're in. And the difference between the man is very simple. We see this in John 8:32, where it says, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. Meaning that the truth set this man free and enabled God to be with this man throughout his ministry and telling people in a dark room that there's a way out. We're not called to go back into the dark room, sit there and let people like luster on and just die. We're called to tell them that there's a way out. We're called to tell them that there's a way back to the light and that there's a way out of their sin that they're living in. I wanted to talk about the second man too, because it's just as important. In Matthew 5:15, it says why we shouldn't hide our light. So let's go back to Matthew 5:15. So it says this, neither do you light a lamp and put it under a measuring basket, but on a stand, and it shines to all who are in the house. Meaning that we're called to show that light to other people. There's supposed to be a visible light that people can see. That light being Jesus. He says, I am the light of the world. Meaning that we are called to share his glory and his light to other people inside of this dark room. And the reason that the second man is that I'm being so hard on him is mentioned in Romans 2:8. And anytime you see somebody that's really struggling to, shine that light, we're called to encourage them. But there's also consequences to hearing the truth and not doing it. So let's go to Romans 2:8 and see what it says. But for those who are self-seeking and do not obey the truth, but obey unrighteousness, there will be wrath and fury. So this man, right, he goes in there and he sees the truth. He's blinded just like the first man, but he doesn't accept the truth. And that's the difference right there between the first and the second man. The first man gets saved. The second man does not, because he believes the truth, but he doesn't accept the truth. Even the demons believe and shudder, it says in James, meaning that we're called to share the light. We're called to believe, accept the light, and the truth shall set us free. And then we're called to go and share with others that light. And that second man did not do this. He went back into the dark room and he cowered. My encouragement for you guys is to work on your faith and sharing it with other people. Get comfortable sharing the truth of Christ, so that way when the time comes in your ministry, in your walk with Christ, to share that story that Christ has for you, that you don't freeze and that you don't really mess up what Christ is trying to tell other people. Thank you for watching. It's good to have all of you here. I hope you have a good rest of your day.